The rain came down so hard that night it sounded like the sky itself was breaking apart. Daniel Carter tightened his old jacket around his shoulders as he hurried home after finishing another late shift at the warehouse. Every muscle in his body ached, but all he could think about was getting back to his tiny apartment where his 6-year-old son, Noah, was waiting with the neighbor who babysat him whenever Daniel worked overtime. Then he heard it. A baby's cry. At first he thought the storm was playing tricks on his ears. But the cry came again, louder this time, filled with fear and desperation. Daniel stopped beneath a flickering streetlight and looked around. The sound led him to an old wooden bench near the entrance of a small park. There, wrapped in a soaked pink blanket, lay a tiny baby girl. Beside her was a small envelope with just one sentence written in shaky handwriting. "Please love her more than I ever could." Daniel stood frozen. Whoever had left her was already gone. If you believe one act of kindness can change an entire life, don't forget to like this story, share it with someone who believes in hope, and subscribe for more emotional stories that remind us how powerful love can be. Daniel carefully lifted the baby into his arms. She stopped crying the moment she felt his warmth. Her tiny fingers wrapped around one of his, and something changed inside him forever. At the police station, officers searched for her parents, but no missing child report matched the baby. Hours turned into days, and days into weeks. Social workers placed her in temporary care while investigators searched for answers. Daniel couldn't stop thinking about her. He visited every chance he got. The nurses noticed how the baby's eyes lit up whenever he walked into the room. She would smile, stretch out her tiny hands, and calm down the moment he held her. One afternoon, a social worker asked quietly, "Have you ever thought about becoming her foster father?" Daniel almost laughed. "I can barely afford to raise my son. But love doesn't appear on a bank statement," she replied gently. Those words stayed with him. After months of paperwork, interviews, home inspections, and sleepless nights worrying whether he was making the right decision, Daniel officially became the father of the little girl. He named her Lily. Life became harder than ever. Daniel worked 2 jobs. During the day he loaded trucks. At night he cleaned office buildings. Every dollar went toward rent, food, school supplies, diapers, and doctor visits. Many nights he skipped dinner so Noah and Lily could eat. He never complained. His children never knew how many sacrifices he made because every evening he came home wearing the same tired smile. "We're having a feast tonight," he'd joke, serving simple soup and bread as if it were a royal banquet. Noah believed him. Lily giggled every time. Years passed. The tiny apartment became filled with laughter instead of silence. Noah adored his little sister even though they weren't related by blood. When classmates teased Lily for being adopted, Noah always stood beside her. "Family isn't about blood," he would say. "Family is the people who never leave." Daniel overheard those words once from the hallway. He quietly wiped away tears before either child could see them. But happiness rarely comes without hardship. When Lily turned 12, Daniel began feeling exhausted all the time. At first he blamed long hours at work. Then he started collapsing from dizziness. One morning he fainted while unloading boxes. Doctors ran several tests. The diagnosis shattered everything. Advanced kidney disease. Without treatment, his condition would continue to worsen. The medical bills piled up faster than Daniel could earn money. Even with insurance, there were expenses he simply couldn't afford. He hid the truth from Noah and Lily. Whenever they asked why he looked tired, he smiled. "I'm just getting old." But children notice more than adults realize. One evening Lily found a folder hidden beneath Daniel's bed. Inside were hospital reports, unpaid bills, and a letter mentioning the urgent need for a kidney transplant. Her hands trembled as tears rolled down her cheeks. That night she couldn't sleep. She remembered every bedtime story Daniel had read. Every birthday he somehow made magical despite having almost no money. Every hug after a nightmare. Every promise that everything would always be okay. Now it was his turn to need saving. The next morning Lily quietly began searching online about kidney donations. She didn't fully understand the medical information, but she refused to give up. She even started helping neighbors after school, walking dogs, washing cars, pulling weeds, and babysitting children. Every dollar she earned went into an old glass jar hidden inside her closet. Daniel noticed her coming home tired. "What have you been up to lately?" he asked. "Just trying to help people," she answered with a gentle smile. He kissed her forehead. "I'm proud of the woman you're becoming." She hugged him tighter than ever before, silently praying she wouldn't lose the only father she had ever known. As the weeks passed, Daniel grew weaker. He tried to hide it, but even climbing the apartment stairs left him breathless. One rainy evening, Lily sat alone beside the same park where Daniel had found her 12 years earlier. She stared at the old bench, wondering about the mother who had left her there. Then she noticed something carved into the wood beneath layers of faded paint. Lily couldn't stop staring at the words carved into the old bench. "Forgive me, Emma." Her heart pounded. She gently traced the faded letters with her fingertips, wondering if the woman who had left her there had carved them before walking away forever. Questions filled her mind. Had her birth mother survived? Was she still alive? Did she ever think about the baby she had left behind? But as those thoughts came, another memory pushed them aside, the face of the man who had carried her home when no one else would. Daniel. To Lily, he was the only parent who had ever truly loved her. She quietly stood, wiped away her tears, and whispered, "No matter who gave me life, you're the one who taught me how to live." The next morning Daniel became too weak to go to work. He tried getting out of bed, but his legs gave way beneath him. Noah rushed to catch him before he hit the floor. Within minutes, an ambulance was taking Daniel to the hospital. Doctors admitted him immediately. His kidneys were failing faster than expected. Without a transplant, time was running out. Lily sat beside his bed, holding his hand while machines beeped softly around them. Daniel smiled weakly. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I wanted to give you both a better life." Lily shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "You already gave us everything." News of Daniel's condition spread through the neighborhood. The elderly woman whose groceries he carried every week told everyone about his kindness. The mechanic whose daughter Daniel had once tutored for free shared his story online. Families Daniel had quietly helped over the years began posting messages about the man who never expected anything in return. Within days, thousands of people had read his story. Donations started arriving. Some people gave $5. Others gave $50. A few gave thousands. The money helped pay for his treatment, but it couldn't guarantee a matching kidney. Every day felt like a race against time. Meanwhile, Lily continued opening the little glass jar in her bedroom. It held only a few $100s from months of hard work. She carried it into Daniel's hospital room. "I know it isn't much," she said, placing the jar on the bedside table. "But it's everything I have." Daniel looked at the coins and worn bills before looking at the young girl he had once found crying in the rain. His eyes filled with tears. "It means more than millions." A week later, the transplant coordinator entered Daniel's room with unexpected news. "We've found a compatible donor." The room fell silent. Daniel stared in disbelief. The surgery was scheduled immediately. Hours felt like years as Noah and Lily waited outside the operating room. They prayed, cried, and held each other's hands. Finally, the surgeon walked toward them with a tired smile. The operation was successful. Lily burst into tears of relief. For the first time in weeks, hope felt stronger than fear. Recovery wasn't easy, but day by day Daniel grew stronger. He laughed again. He walked again. He came home again. The small apartment that once echoed with worry was once again filled with laughter. A month later, the local community organized a celebration in Daniel's honor. Neighbors gathered in the park where everything had begun 12 years earlier. Children played beneath colorful balloons while families shared homemade food. During the celebration, the mayor stepped onto a small stage. "Some heroes wear uniforms," he said. "Others simply choose kindness every single day." He invited Daniel forward and handed him a Community Hero Award. The crowd erupted into applause. Daniel looked embarrassed. "I only did what any father should do." Lily smiled. "No," she whispered. "You did what only an extraordinary father could do." That evening, after everyone had gone home, Daniel and Lily returned to the old bench. The carved words were still there. Without saying anything, Daniel took out a small pocketknife and carefully carved 4 new words beneath the old message. "She was always loved." Lily wrapped her arms around him. At that moment, it no longer mattered why she had been abandoned. Because love had found her anyway. Years later, Lily graduated from medical school. Standing on stage in her white coat, she searched the crowd until she found Daniel. His hair had turned gray. His face carried the lines of sacrifice. But his smile was exactly the same as the night he first held her in his arms. When her name was called, she walked across the stage, accepted her diploma, and dedicated it to one man. My father taught me that saving a life doesn't always begin inside a hospital. Sometimes it begins on a rainy night, when one ordinary person chooses compassion instead of walking away. The audience rose to their feet. Daniel couldn't stop crying. After the ceremony, Lily hugged him tightly. "You saved me first," she whispered. "And now I'll spend the rest of my life saving others, because that's what you taught me." Daniel smiled through his tears. He realized that the greatest reward for every sacrifice he had ever made wasn't money, recognition, or awards. It was seeing the frightened little baby he had once rescued grow into a woman whose heart reflected the same kindness that had changed both of their lives forever. If this story touched your heart, leave a comment with the words, "Kindness always finds its way home." Share this story with someone you love, and remember that one act of compassion can change generations.